Okay, yeah, my name is Eric Windheim. I live in Sacramento. My company, Windheim EMF Solutions, the motto is less EMF, better health, live longer. And that's provable with all kinds of thousands of peer-reviewed studies. Okay, so that's me, and I'm certified to advise homeowners, building inspectors, home purchasers about how to minimize the presence of man-made electromagnetic radiation in the built environment, particularly as it relates to man-made energy, electricity, and all of its derivatives. Our goal is to produce a house where people feel better. 85% of my clients already hurt. They feel bad when they get home, and they feel better when they get out of the house. So some principles of building biology is to verify that the site that you choose to live on is safe and free of natural occurring man-made health hazards. If you don't have a safe site, what?
Move closer to the mic.
Okay. If you don't have a safe site, nothing else is important, okay? Then we want to minimize it. You know, once we're there, maybe your house is already set up, how do we minimize man-made power system EMF generated inside the house? And the reason is you can't stay well in an EMF sick house, and you certainly can't get well. But all across America, we've got doctors sending you home with a new pill back to your sick house. Never once do they come out to your house and make an examination of the house itself. Okay. There's 4 kinds of electromagnetic radiation, also known as EMF, electric fields, magnetic fields, microwave radiation, dirty electricity. We're only talking about wireless radiation today, 3G, 4G, 5G. And they can cause discomfort, impairment, injury, sickness, and death. I've seen all of that in my clients. And I wanted to ask you, do you know someone that feels better when they leave the house and worse when they return it? They definitely should have an EMF assessment overview. Everybody should. Okay, so wireless radiation, we're going to look at external sources. That's from outside your house. There's 5G millimeter wave, there's 3G, 4G, TV, radio towers. And by the way, until the wireless revolution occurred in the 90s, the only risk really was from TV, radio, and radar. But now we've got WiMAX, we always had airport planes coming in. But with everything wireless now, it's everywhere. It's up and down your street. You can hold your breath, and as you're driving, you can still see 2 or 3 cell towers between breaths. Now, internal sources, this is all the stuff that you've been sold. Okay, wireless, Wi-Fi, cordless phone, cell tower, a cell phone, streaming TV, Xbox, laptop, tablets, microwave oven, smart meter, Apple Watch, Fitbit, etc. So the solution for those is to remove, replace, hardwire, reduce usage, and create usage. And I forgot this on the first one. The solution for external solutions is detect, avoid, and shield. We're going to show you a little bit of shielding, but you can't do much about a cell tower next to your house except avoid it or maybe shield from it. Okay, so what's happening around our house? Well, it's on the freeway. The Department of Defense has wonderful plans for you. They want to put radars on all 4 sides of your cars so that the insurance companies will be able to find out who's in the right lane, who's in the wrong lane, who's on the gas, who's on the brake, and how fast is everybody going, and who caused the accident. And the Department of Defense, Transportation says, oh no, we're just going to have you just take your foot off the gas, we're going to get all of you there. It's going to be wonderful, just trust us. And there's definitely not going to be any hacking involved. Now, in your living room, it really looks like a battlefield. There's so much different radiation moving back and forth. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 hours just to sniff out all the little Wi-Fi devices that are in people's homes. And then, outside your house, you may be looking at a few 3G and 4G cell towers. So what you need to do is avoid the sources and chronic exposure. Now, the big question is, are you going to have a 5G antenna outside your house? I've got one 200 feet away from my house. I bought a special spectrum analyzer to measure it. And so far, it's very low power because I'm not into beam. I'm not requesting data. But as of summer of next year, people will have handheld 5G cell phones, and you don't want to be anywhere near those people because they're going to be requesting a 5G download, and there's going to be collateral damage. These beams, from the articles I've read, are 3 degree to 10 degree in width. It's going to be aiming right at you, and you. And by the way, it's going to hit 2 or 3 people around you. That's collateral unwanted damage, unwanted radiation. So my suggestion is avoid people that are carrying a 5G device, okay? Like lepers, okay? That's simple. And those are pictures of the 5G antennas going up in my zip code right there. I was given no public warning. Somebody said, hey, Eric, they're putting them up now. No warning whatsoever. They don't think they need to. Okay, so I bought this little thing here, the Spectrum Compact by SAF, 24 to 40 gigahertz. It's up here. You can come over here and look at some of my instrumentation later, but please don't touch anything, okay? Pick up a business card or something, but don't touch the instruments. That is a spectrum analyzer. It's used by professional antenna specialists. It's powerful. It's useful for detection of power levels. It has great software. The drawback is the price. It's very expensive. It's up in the close to $6,000 range. But it produces reports like you see on the left. And, you know, from the power level I'm receiving, even directly under the tower, it's 100 times under the no concern level for building biology precautionary guidelines, as long as you're out of the beam. Kind of like an escaped convict from a prison running across the field in the darkness until the spotlight from the guard tower gets on them. And then we all know what happens to those escapees. Once you're spotlighted by the 5G antenna, I expect that the RF compliance reports say that when you're underneath the pole, the most exposure you can get is 650,000 microwatts per meter squared. That's 650 times higher than the building biology extreme concern level. But not to worry, it's only 6.5% of what the FCC allows, so you got nothing to worry about. But you got to choose who you're going to believe, okay? Okay, now these are the meters that we use for detecting RF. This is a directional meter. So we know there's something coming from that direction. Then once you find out the direction, now this is my favorite little one. I love this one. You just put it in your pocket everywhere you go. My wife gets tired of the noise, so I turn off the noise on it. But it measures the overall power density. Everybody should have something like this, just like something from your medicine chest. You've got to be able to detect when you're in a bad location. Now here's a more professional model. And we can measure the total amount of exposure. Okay, somebody's cell phone just went off. We got a cell phone user here. Okay, you'll be able to identify all these sounds just like bird calls after a while. Okay, so that put us over the 20,000, 20 times over the extreme exposure level. So you need to get a meter to be able to protect yourself. There's no two ways about that. And if you have questions, you can go to my website. There's videos that shows you how to use the meter, which is very important, because if you don't know how to use it, you're not in very good condition. You have to be able to use your tools and understand them. And then you should take measurements and record them. So many times I have people call me, hey, Eric, I bought a meter, and it's going crazy. It's spiking. I said, well, what is the exact amount? I don't know, just going off the top of the scale. So you have to write it down, and this is a form I use. The microwave radiation is on the second column on the left, and then there's magnetic field, dirty electricity, electric field. Then you need to say, okay, where in the house and what measurement? Without that, you're just in a panic, okay? And then once you've got your measurements, then you say, okay, what is the risk level of that measurement? Is it insignificant? Is it no concern, which means safe for everybody? Is it slight concern, which means it's safe for normal adults but not the sick, the infants, and the elderly? Is it a severe concern? That means everybody should fix it and avoid it if possible until it is fixed. Is it an extreme concern? That means avoid it until it is fixed. So you need to know what your risk level is. That's very important. Okay, now external solutions, detect and avoid before you rent, buy, or build. Don't fall in love with the sick building. Don't. Avoid views and vistas. There's so many beautiful views. I can see for miles across this valley. Guess what? You're a target. To be safe, the clients that are hiring me for real estate pre-purchase assessments, we're looking in the bottoms of canyons with no view. We're looking in places you find natural shelter in a narrow valley or depression. Avoid views of buildings, bridges, towers, poles, valleys, ridgelines, unless you own them, because somebody can put a tower on there, and I saw it happen to a customer just 2 weeks ago. Now, you can also surround your house with a dense wall of evergreen trees, such as cypress trees. They grow very tall and very fast, like 5 feet a year. And a double row of cypress trees stops almost all microwave radiation. It's got so much water in it. You can shield with radiant barrier foil, Y-shield paint, window film. Here's what I've been using in my hotel to shield me from the Wi-Fi. Special kind of radiant barrier insulation. Blocks 97%. Don't leave home without it. Also, this is what we used in Arlington, Virginia for a 16,000 square foot roof redoing job. We put this underneath the roof. It's a special copper product from Germany called Q-Protect. Extremely effective and expensive. And then when you're on the airplane, the TSA had a lot of questions about this. They really did. They said it was a burqa. Okay, so it's best to get a professional opinion before you start spending thousands of bucks on shielding. But just the other day, somebody said, well, I don't want to spend money on a consultation. I don't want to buy the meters, but what kind of shielding do I need? I hear that over and over again. Don't spend any money until you know what your problem is, how intense it is, and where it's coming from. Okay, now we do know that certain materials block this 5G 28, 39, 73 gigahertz very well. You can see that over on the right-hand side there. So if you're going to rebuild, you might as well use stuff that's proven to stop this. It probably won't cost any more, and it could actually save you some money on your heating and air conditioning bill too. So there's materials that stops this stuff. It's not invincible. But internal solutions, so often I see babies with baby monitors on each end of the crib, kind of like stadium lights. The poor little baby, he can't sleep, he's screaming. They have to medicate him and dope him down. It's really sad. Okay, so you need to detect and locate the sources, once again with the right meter. Remove the source, replace with a wired alternative, relocate the source. Even hand grenades and nuclear bombs have a safe distance if you're far enough away. You want to reduce usage. Create sleep sanctuaries. You need to have great sleep if you want to have a long, healthy life. You need great sleep for rest and repair. And you need to get professional guidance. Otherwise, you're a babe in the woods on this one. For the smart meter, keep the analog meter, demand the analog meter, get your neighbors to do the same. Shield the meter on the circumference if it's a smart meter, and on the back, but not on the front. And if you can't get an analog meter, you might have to filter the digital meter to keep the dirty electricity from getting into your house. Cars, these people had a wife so sensitive she couldn't drive into town. They shielded the Volkswagen Eurovan with the special film and brought the exposure down 98%. Here's the film right here. It works extremely well. There's a lot of glass on that car, so it costs $1,200. So this is what we got to look forward to, spending $5,000 to $10,000 per household to protect ourselves from this so-called economic wonder. It doesn't pan out. There's no net economic gain to all this. Now this is some of my actual clients. That poor woman on the left has to wear that in her house because the radar from the top of Mount Tamalpais, the FAA radar, is blasting her house about every 9 to 10 seconds with a radar sweep. The woman on the other side of there was practicing for triathlons until the smart meter went on her house, and then she became so symptomatic she can't leave the house without wearing that $2,000 suit. So that you need to have zero EMF if you want to recover. You know, zero. Okay, now the bed canopies can work too if that's what you need. You better buy the right kind, the right material, and the right design, or it won't work as planned and everything will be a waste. Poor quality design or product equals poor quality sleep. So, creating a sleep sanctuary. Get rid of electric clocks near the bed. Turn off all circuits related to the bedroom, eliminate and shield from RF, use beds without metal, make sure there's no elevated magnetic fields. And this information's on my website. You can go there and fill out the contact form if you want to talk to me. Please don't call me first. Use the contact form. Many clients sleep better the very first night and they rave about their sleep sanctuary, and we'd like to make one for you. It makes such a difference. They go, oh, I haven't slept this good in years. And that was the wife of someone who was married to a sleep pathologist who charges thousands of bucks for you to go to his sleep study. He never heard about making a sleep sanctuary like this. Okay, so the medical community doesn't have it. So here's the final slide. Who are you going to trust? Hey, the governments, they make all the rules, you know? And they say there's no problem, along with our captured governmental agencies like the FCC. No problem, nothing to see here. But independently funded scientists like Dr. Paul and Timothy Sheckley, oh yeah, they point out that even the government has admitted this. So you have to make your choice, and you have to be precautionary. Don't look for the government to protect you. I want to thank you for attending. I want you to use the contact form on my website if you have a simple question. Please don't give me a whole essay. I don't have time to read it all. I suggest you to schedule an EMF assessment with your nearest qualified professional in your area. Determine your exposure, get effective solutions, and start using technology safely. Thank you very much. Better do something before you end up like those people that are totally disabled. Like, do everything you can to cut off everything in the house, do everything you can to avoid external sources, and start wearing some sort of protective material so you don't have to wrap yourself in a cocoon and leave normal society.
Thank you. These people who are severely affected, it's about roughly 3 to 4% of the population in the developed world. They are so marginalized in society. They're unable to participate. They could not be here. So I can be here, but I am careful about my environment. I have a wired home, and I hope I can keep it. One of the questions was from somebody about, I still value my landline. What can I do to fight to keep it? Well, I'm with you. I don't know how this is going to go. I don't want them to take my landline down, but they have the authority to do so, and they already are doing it in some parts of the country. I want to also ask Eric about dirty electricity. What does that mean?
That's the unintended consequence of energy-efficient devices. It's created by switching mode power supplies, pulse width modulators, variable speed motors. Virtually everything that saves energy produces dirty electricity, and it radiates off the wiring in the form of radio frequency radiation, and you're in this electric cage called your house, and it's going to affect your blood sugar, your dopamine levels, and both of those are measurable. This is not science fiction. The laptop there is showing dirty electricity measured. We'll be answering that later on, but it's something you need to avoid. Well, since it's a public utility, You have the right to show up at board meetings. I showed up at 93 board meetings. We pinned those deceptive people up against the wall with their own words, one documentable lie after another, and they got tired of it, and they let us keep the analog meter. Now, I think the digital meter is a nice halfway thing. You should filter the dirty electricity, but if you get enough people up in arms, you can go in there and say $26 is simply extortion, and we want the analog meter back, just like many, many, many other utilities nationwide.
Thank you.